moved so much that I want to do the second part of it just as its own video and see what you guys think of it. If you don't want me to preach so much on this channel, I mean, it's a science channel, I get that, but there's a lot of people that I just don't think get where I'm coming from when I talk about giving your heart to the Lord, or who the Lord is, or how to interpret a good from evil and things like that. So I think it might give you a good backstory as to how I look at these things. So anyway, part 2, Jesus starts his ministry. In the first part, we talked about him being born and what happened there. And now let's look at what happens when he starts his ministry at the age of 30, they say. This is out of Luke. When he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, he went to the synagogue on the Sabbath day, as was his custom. He stood up to read, and the scroll of the prophet Isaiah was given to him. We talk about Isaiah all the time, guys. I mean, it's like crazy prophecy, everything in it was given to him. He unrolled the scroll and found the place where it was written, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me." Now listen very carefully, because this is the ministry of Jesus Christ, otherwise known as Yeshua HaMashiach. Listen. "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor." Really? Good news to the poor? Speak on, dear gentlemen. Then he says, "He has sent me to proclaim the release to the captives, the recovery of the sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." Then he rolled up the scroll, gave it back to the attendant, and sat down. I want you to think very carefully about, right from Jesus' own lips, what he was sent to do. And I want you to put your name in here with me for a moment. And just think about it, meditate on this. And I mean meditate on it. Because when you think about what's looking out through your eyeballs, the power of that Spirit, it definitely needs this kind of good news. So the Spirit of the Lord, the great Spirit, was upon him. But let's say the Spirit of the Lord was upon him because he is anointed to bring the good news to you. Put your name in there. I'll put in my name. To bring good news to Steve Olson. Well, Steve Olson has a high standard for good news, Mr. Yeshua. Well, what is it? Well, he says, he has sent me to proclaim the release to the captives. Or to release you, Steve. Captives to what? And recovery of the sight to the blind. And let the oppressed go free. What could he possibly be releasing me from? Everybody can describe hell, but nobody can describe heaven. What is that? Did we really forget what God looked like? Is that what happened? Because I think that's what happened. And I think that the good news is that God is humble. God respects humility. And in fact, God can't be God without humility, because it takes humility to contain perfect power. You can't have power without humility. It just don't work that way. Think about how Jesus actually washed the feet of his disciples wearing the robe of a slave. Think about that for a second. These dirty, stinky freaking apostles, man. Freaking farting beasts of smelliness. And he's washing their feet with the robe of a slave. That's the kind of humility it takes to be God. Now, I'm not asking you to be God, though. But I am asking you to let Jesus wash your feet. This is part 2 installment of Steve Olson's view of the gospel. And I want you to know something. When he says he came to bring good news, to proclaim release and recovery of sight, and let oppressed go free, you better believe he meant it, and he meant it for you.